Hey there gang, Lorwyn has proven to be a powerful and competitive landscape. To win, sometimes you have to employ the most formidable strategy you can find. Let's play some head games. Welcome, friends and opponents, to Head Games Arena. My name is Jetterex, and this week we're going to be going back to an old standard staple to see if Lorwyn gave us any new toys to play with. Spoiler alert, it definitely did. By that, of course, I mean we are playing Sultai Reanimator with a couple of new cards from Lorwyn. You remember this card from a few seasons ago, built around Kavero, or Superior Spider-Man. This is a 4-mana creature that enters as a copy of a creature in the graveyard, so it works with cards like Bringer of the Last Gift that have the when this creature enters, if you cast it, do this ability. So Bringer of the Last Gift is living death on a stick, and Kavero allows you to cast this card way ahead of curve and reanimate your whole graveyard if you have a bunch of stuff in there. So that's the game plan. Dump as many cards into the graveyard as we can, reanimate them all at once, and bury our opponents in value, maybe even just winning on the spot. So Lorwyn gave us a lot of really good new toys to play in this deck. Formidable Speaker is a tutor for 3 mana. When it enters, you discard a card, then tutor out a creature. So you can discard your reanimate target and then get Kavero, which is your reanimate spell. So it works incredibly well. We also got 2 elemental incarnations on color. Wistfulness does a lot of really great work here because it exiles an artifact or enchantment, so we can get rid of graveyard hate like Rest in Peace, or it can draw cards and discard cards with the blue half of its ability. So casting this early on for the blue mana still serves the game plan of the deck. And then Deceit, I think, was the sleeper among the elemental incarnation cycle, but it's perfect for this deck, and we've seen this in a lot of different decks, the Deceit and Kavero combo. So Deceit, on 2, you can play it for 2 black, and you get a Bad Thought Seize. You look at your opponent's hand, they discard a non-land card of your choice. But most importantly, that puts Deceit in your graveyard, which then means Kavero can become Deceit for 2 blue and 2 black, getting both of its abilities on as early as turn 4. So these cards are in a number of different decks. It obviously works with this graveyard synergy in this deck, but there's lots of other ways that you can play that. You'll remember that we play Overlord of the Baelmerk as a way to mill cards, but also to get things like the elementals back. Awaken the Honored Dead, again, is a removal spell. Then it also mills cards. Then it allows you to trade cards in your hand for cards in your graveyard. We've got a pretty standard removal suite down here at the bottom. 2 copies of Requiting Hex, 2 copies of Bitter Triumph, and 2 copies of Strategic Betrayal to try to deal with our opponent's graveyard so that we don't get destroyed by our own reanimating when we cast Bringer of the Last Gift. Oblivious Bookworm is just a 2-mana creature that loots on the end step, draws a card and discards a card unless you meet a qualification that we're never going to meet with this deck, so just think of it as a looter on the end step. And then very important to talk about in this deck is Cavern of Souls. We're only playing with 3 copies, but we probably could play with the full 4, because having Cavern of Souls means that it makes it much harder for control decks to deal with Kavero. And then at the top end, we are playing with 3 copies of Craterhoof Behemoth. A lot of other versions of this deck are not doing that. They're either playing a 4th color and playing with Terror of the Peaks to try to get the win that way, or they are playing with things like Arden at the top that's going to reanimate things that are hasty, but just one thing at a time. I'm trying to win in one full swing, just one turn, especially in the best of 1 ladder, so I opted for 3 copies of Craterhoof Behemoth, and it does not disappoint. This will absolutely win you games. So it's a Reanimator deck. There's not a whole heck of a lot else to say. It is probably the most efficient version of this deck in Standard. I'm not saying my exact 60 is the best, but this version of it playing with some combination of these cards is probably what you're going to see. So I'm very excited to show you the gameplay. Before we head over there, I'd like to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, leave some comments down below. Love to hear what you're excited about in the upcoming set as we prepare for yet a new form of our beloved Standard. So thank you, as always, for watching. Let's play some head games. All right, game 1, Sultai Reanimator, the old Kavero special, but with some new upgrades from Lorwyn. Here are a couple of those upgrades. We've got Formidable Speaker and Wistfulness in our opener here. So lots of ways of dumping stuff into the graveyard here. So this is solid. We don't have any interaction in our opening hand, but we do have a lot of ways of moving our own game plan forward. So this is certainly keepable. Playing against Helga over here. Optimistic Scavenger. So this is a little bit scary, because this deck is super fast. The white what's the word I'm looking for? The white auras deck is very fast. Okay, yeah, we can put Wistfulness in the bin with Surveil. Okay, Spellbook Vendor for our opponent. We would love to draw something else. Okay, we're not in an enormous amount of pressure, so let's just be cautious about how we play. We'll play the Bookworm, which is going to draw us an additional card and allow us to discard Bringer. Okay, so we're good. Feather of Flight for our opponent. Ethereal Armor. Another counter up here. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. We are going to block. We will take 3. We would love to draw removal here. Okay, well that's interesting. So I also need very much to get Cavero here. So I think that that's more correct. We will play a Watery Grave untapped. This is where we see how really just bananas this deck is. So we're going to discard an Overlord of the Baelmerk to Formidable Speaker. We're going to get Cavero, and now our opponent is staring down the barrel of us reanimating our whole graveyard. They put a counter on the Scavenger. Scavenger gets a bonus. They have both attack. They get to scry. I'm absolutely blocking. We go to 9. We will play a Breeding Pool untapped and play Cavero. Cavero copies Bringer. Bringer does its thing. Sure, we'll discard a card. And that is enough for our opponent. That's all there is to it. Game 2, Sultai Reanimator with some formidable new cards, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, I don't have double black for Deceit, but I really do like having Strategic Betrayal, Awaken, and Overlord. This gets us to what we're doing. I actually can't use Deceit at all yet, but that's probably okay. We're okay. It's not an aggressive start, but it is a... Okay, our opponent did not play a creature or spell on turn 1, so I'm going to say I feel really good about that. We will put Bringer in the bin. We'll see if Plains is the second play for our opponent, or is it more Mountains? Okay, more Mountains, Hexing Squelcher. Okay. Razorkin, Needlehead. I understand. I'll take a damage from that. So, I think I might just remove that. I think we might, like, we might be trying here to just keep up with removing everything. So, Strategic Betrayal gets rid of the Razorkin. Now, next turn, I get Awaken the Honored Dead. We would love to draw a land here so that we have enough to keep going in what we are trying to do. Another Razorkin Needlehead for our opponent and a follow-up. 1 mana creature? No? I mean, red has a lot of 1 mana spells, so I'm not sure that I'm not surprised that our opponent is holding priority here. Okay, 3rd mana. We'll play Awaken the Honored Dead. I would like to draw cards, so I am pretty incentivized to keep removing these because they hurt. But the good news is each one of them has only done 1 damage to us. They're holding probably a Burst Lightning, waiting to do that 2 damage to us. 3 mana gets you what? 4th land and O'Hare Oxenil. Oof. That's a little scary. Especially considering that I desperately need to draw a land. Okay, so Is there a land in my graveyard? There is. Okay. Well, that's the answer then. Formidable Speaker. We're going to pitch the Bailmerk, I think. And we will get Cavero. Or Superior Spider-Man for you Marvel enthusiasts out there. O'Hare Axonil on the battlefield is very scary. So unfortunately, yeah, that Razor can't... Ooh, look at that. Yep. Okay, so this is when a source you would deal non-combat damage less than its power to an opponent. So am I just gonna take 8 here? I mean, I get to reanimate. I'm not, right? Did they hard cast the Hellkite? They did. They hard cast the Hellkite. Okay. So I can discard. What am I discarding? Maybe Bookworm? We'll get the land back. You forget that Awaken the Honored Dead also gets lands. Here's a Cavero. Guess what? Say goodbye to the big things. Okay, what do I want? I'm gonna discard the Bringer. And what do I get? Oh, cool. I'll get Cavero again. We will decline. And we are not going to do that because I just don't want to take any damage. I'm fairly certain we just win from here unless our opponent can reactivate Axonil and hit us a whole bunch of times. Hired Claw. When you attack with one or more lizards, Burst Lightning does 4 damage to us. Drawing does 4 damage to us. Ooh. So they have 3 blocks. Do I actually not win here? I can't. Yeah, alright, so we just get in. I guess I get Wistfulness back. So I've got 10 coming in the air. They've got to block the 3 biggest creatures on the ground here, right? No. Okay. No, O'Hare survives. Yep. Very good. Okay. Okay, can I not die here? So I can kill O'Hare again, I'm just not sure that it matters. Huh. How do I not die? I need another blue mana is what I need, unfortunately, so I could bounce O'Hare, but it's just not going to do it. So how much does this take to activate? It takes 4 to activate, so they would have to draw a spell and be able to attack. So okay, so we're going to Cavero, and we will. We'll Cavero their Razorkin. And then we'll play our land. They could still win here. They could still win. If they draw a damage spell, we lose. It's not a damage spell. Okay. You got it. Woo! So close. All they had to do was draw a Burst Lightning and they would have won there. That's enough for our opponent. Close match. Game 3, Sultai Reanimator with our formidable new cards. Currently 2-0. Not sure we can take this. Cavern goes on Elemental, which lets us see several more cards. And it does allow us to bounce the very first thing. Maybe we can keep this. I feel like it might be a bit risky, but I'm going to try it. We'll start with Willow Rush Verge. Send a very mixed message to our opponent. Blue-green could mean a lot of different things. Cavern of Souls on Elemental. And we will play Wistfulness on blue. Let's see some lands. Okay. We're going to discard Overlord of the Baelmark, I think. Actually, let's discard Deceit, because I actually cannot do anything with Deceit right now. 2 elementals in our graveyard. Let's see a Rest in Peace from our opponent. Tap land. Tap land is fine. We will play an Overgrown Tomb, untapped, and impend Overlord of the Baelmark. I think we get Wistfulness back. This is where, see, the Mythic Cycle from Duskmourn meeting the Mythic Cycle from Lorwyn is really, really strong. Alright. So our opponent is on Esper, which could mean a number of different things. It could mean a Moon Shadow deck. Stock Up makes me think pretty likely that we're going to see control here. That gets them up to 8 cards in their hand, which means they have to discard. So we are going to have a hard time against control. Bookworm is very interesting. Okay, let's play Breeding Pool, untapped. Let's play Wistfulness again for 2 blue. Draw some more cards. I'm going to discard the Requiting Hex because I'm fairly certain it doesn't do anything. We'll resolve this. We will play Oblivious Bookworm to dig even further into our deck. We will take the draw. And as much as I hate to say it, I think we're pitching a Bitter Triumph here. Bitter Triumph is probably not as good against our opponent's deck if they are strictly a control deck. Okay. Not looking good for us. Let's get a land down. Let's attack with the Bookworm. We'll get in for 2. Okay. I think we try to play Formidable Speaker here. I think it's very likely it just gets countered. Like, in a big way. Yeah, let's do it. Probably playing into a counter here. Nope. Okay. Alright, we are going to grab Cabero. And I think... Do I play the Overlord? I mean, holding up Bitter Triumph doesn't do us any good. Yeah. I may just be playing into a Rest in Peace here. I mean, it is very likely. All we've seen so far is a Maze Mind Tome from our opponent, so there's like so many things that it could be. Okay, so I think that we actually take Deceit now. Our opponent flashes in. Consult with the stars. That's not a flash spell. That's an instant. I was worried that we'd see the Kutzil's flanker. Okay. I want to see more cards. We'll pitch the land this time. Kind of a waste, but it's okay. We're really looking for another Cavern of Souls. I guess I should have kept the land because I can play the... Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's probably a good game now. Yeah. Good for our opponent. Maybe not. Let's get a look at that hand. Yeah, they are really built to beat us. They are really built to beat us. Okay, so they're a mill deck. Yeah. Yeah. Get rid of Cavero here. Okay. Okay.
More heroes for the cause.
Okay, first things first, we're going to play a full 5 mana Wistfulness. Get rid of the Rest in Peace. Draw 2 cards. I think Strategic Betrayal is proven to be completely useless against us. Yeah, we are coming at your face. What can I get? I am going to take the action. If I am playing into another, like they need to board wipe this turn, or which I'm saying very scared. I mean, they'd slam it if they had it, right? Oh, so good. Okay. Boy. All right. So I can Formidable Speaker twice. What does this do? Mana value 3 or greater. Okay. So they can counter what I'm trying to do. Alright, let's get our land down and let's figure out what we're doing. Alright, pitching Bookworm. Getting... Oh, I should have just played Cavero. That was wrong. We're going to take their counter and say go. Soldiers.
I welcome all allies.
River Churn Monument. Pretty neat. Alright, I don't have a lot of choice here, so this is what we're going to do. If they drew another counter, I'm going to be very upset, because then we probably are done. Come on. Come on. Did you really? Okay. No, they're consulting the stars to see if they can draw a counter to stop me from casting Cavero. And they drew it. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. You got it. We're not done, but that felt very bad. I mean, I did force them to dig. More soldiers, sure.
More heroes for the cause.
Yep. Coming right in. Yep. I'll take a Deceit back. Yep. Yep. And we'll play a Deceit. Double blue, double black. Please try to counter it. You're not that silly. Control players are much smarter than that. So, I mean, River Churn Monument probably beats me here in a second, but I get to put Elspeth back in their hand and then see whatever else. Okay, they're gonna cast Get Lost on that. They're gonna mill. I'm gonna mill 2 cards. You're gonna pitch Elspeth. And now the turn is over. Authority makes my stuff enter tapped. Okay. Okay. So this makes me mill as many as I have in my graveyard. So if I put another card in my graveyard, that's 15. I'm almost done at that point. So let's Formidable Speaker. Yep. Discarding Bookworm. I'll get a Cavero. Green, black, oops, blue, and black. We'll cast Cavero. Wistfulness. You gonna do it? Okay. Okay. Board wipe and they win. Don't love losing that way. Game 4, Sultai Reanimator with some formidable new cards. Currently 2-1 after a very, very long and slow loss to a control deck where they top decked the card they needed right at the end of the game. Although they probably could have gotten a Consult the Stars and drawn it to the next. There was a high likelihood they were going to get it there. That's what their deck is built to do. This is fine. So it's a challenge because it's like you have your Cavern of Souls and you need to figure out where the right place to put it is every time. Yeah, we'll leave Formidable Speaker on top. It's so, which makes it difficult, right? Because you almost always want to put it on human so they can't counter the Okay, Flame Raider for our opponent probably just needs to get it. Let's pay 2 life. We will... Oh, nope. I meant pay 2 life to put in Watery Grave. We're going to discard a card to Bitter Triumph. We're going to discard Craterhoof Behemoth. We just want to slow them down a little. Elemental again for our opponent. They are on... There's another Flame Raider. I can't do anything about that right now, so we're just going to go through the motions then. I don't have the card I need here, so I think we... Overlord of the Baelmerk. They probably got a bounce spell in their hand. We will get the Oblivious Bookworm back and play Breeding Pool Tapped. Okay. Let's see what our opponent can do. This is an interesting matchup because it's really the decks are very similar, where theirs is really... Okay, Wistfulness, very good for them. Exiles the Overlord. Does some good shenanigans after that. That's pretty excellent for them. I don't dislike that for them at all. Again, the problem we have to be very conscious of is what are they putting in the graveyard? Okay, Roaming Throne in the graveyard for them. So now we're going to play this. I don't think that they're going to have any counter spells. Let me think. My version did, but most of them don't. And I don't think that they play with counters that counter creatures. So we're going to put this on Elemental because I think it's a little better too. Then we are going to Overlord the Baelmerk again. We will get Kavero back. We'll play Oblivious Bookworm. We are going to draw and discard. I guess we discard a land. Do I put another Formidable Speaker in the graveyard? I think I do want to put another creature in the graveyard. Now the question is our opponent playing with counter magic? And are they playing with graveyard removal? So Sunderflock's a thing, right? But unfortunately, if we resolve Kavero next turn, which now I have a Cavern of Souls that's going to be on human, so there's no counter for them. And with another Kavero in the graveyard, I'm going to have 2 Craterhoofs. Vibrance for our opponent. Draws them a creature, or draws them a land, gains them 2 life. I don't feel bad about where we're at right now. I think we are advantaged at this point. They know about the Kavero, and they're trying to play around it right now. Steam Vents for our opponent. What they don't know is that we have another Cavern of Souls in our hand. So if they're planning to hold up counter magic, it's not going to work in their favor. Oh, crap! They're playing with Kavero. Stop! That doesn't win, right? Ooh. Well, they took our that was a good move. No 2 ways about it. They took our Craterhoof Behemoth, and that was a real big blow for us. Okay. What are we getting back? I suppose I could go elf. Okay, so we'll take another bringer. We'll pitch that bringer. We will get a Cavero. We'll pitch this land. We'll get a Crater Hoof. We'll pitch that Crater Hoof. We'll... Alright, we've got a bringer, we've got a Crater Hoof. We've got a Cavero in our hand. We'll get Deceit. I thought we were advantaged, and they pulled that trick last turn with Cavero to hit our own... I mean, if they Sunderflock at this point, we're probably just boned. That was very strong for them. You think they would slam it if they had it, right? Or are they just taking a while to... Yeah, okay. I don't know why that took so long. That was an excellent play by our opponent. Game 5, Sultai Reanimator. Not the powerhouse that we thought it was so far. Really felt... Well, I mean, we're 2-2 at this point, and the two losses that we had, the first one was a slugfest. We spent the whole game going back and forth, and our opponent... I was going to win on the following turn, and our opponent top decked the right thing. That last game, though, I thought we were really far ahead, and with one play, our opponent just absolutely boned us. So that's a really good reason why we have a Strategic Betrayal in the deck to remove our opponent's graveyard, because it's exactly the type of matchup we're going to have a hard time against. This is a really slow start. I feel a little bad about taking it. Thankfully, our opponent chose not to play anything on the first turn. We're just going to take that as say thank you. Probably play Oblivious Bookworm on 2. We could also have Overlord as a big possibility. All we've seen from our opponent so far is a single swamp. Not really giving away a whole lot yet. Look at their Momo. I gave him a little fruit. Deep Cavern Bat for our opponent. I have plays no matter what they take, so I'm pretty okay with where we're at there. Now, Mono Black means they're probably playing Strategic Betrayal. They took the removal, which is very interesting. I'm going to pass the turn, because I'm very likely going to Bitter Triumph that bat, unless they play another one. Unholy Annex for our opponent. We will discard a card and destroy the bat. We're going to discard this Crater Hoof Behemoth. Now, we can't cast Awaken unless we draw a land. There it is. I'll take it. Pay 2 life for Overgrown Tomb. Awaken the Honored Dead. That will take out their enchantment. That's perfect running for us so far. Lots of possibilities from our opponent. Could just fire off a Strategic Betrayal now. Slasher's fine. Okay. I do like Bitter Triumph here. Mill, mill, mill. So there's no chance that they are countering our stuff. So I think it's much safer to play this on Elemental, because we get more bang out of that. So from here, I think we want to Oblivious Bookworm. I have a feeling they're going to have a removal spell for it. Looks like they don't. Okay. Let's say go. We are going to draw. We're going to discard this Formidable Speaker because we don't need more than one. See, I'm really skeptical here. Like, I feel very strongly that it's, you know, we're only one wrong move away from them removing our whole graveyard. That's why I'm playing so cautiously. Okay. I don't dislike where we're at now. Unholy Annex is doing good things for them, but... Are we removing the bookworm? Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna Bitter Triumph this slasher. It can come back, that's fine. Now they're gonna remove the bookworm. Yep. Always allowed. 2 damage to our opponent and another card. So I drew the land. What can I get back from here that matters? I think the answer is nothing. Like, I'm not super excited about getting cards back here. Part of the difficulty, though, is that I don't have the right cards in the graveyard, and I know that they're going to play with graveyard hate at some point. So I think the answer is I just say no. I'm going to play a land, and we're going to play a full Overlord of the Veilmark. Okay, Wistfulness is a great hit. Wistfulness is a great hit. Now they've got multiple things to deal with. Overlord of the Veilmark is a solid threat. Duress doesn't do anything to us. Unstoppable Slasher number 2 is perfectly okay for me. Okay, so we're just gonna go for it now, I think. Well, let's just play Wistfulness. 2 green, 2 blue. Obvious target there. We will draw. Discard Bringer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Hedge Maze. We will dump a land. We will get in with Overlord. What am I getting back? I really think I keep getting Wistfulness back because I think that it is very strong against their deck. Because Unholy Annex is what really ties that room together. I'm okay with you blocking this. This is the moment where they nuke my graveyard. This is where it is most impactful for them to nuke my graveyard. If they rip a Strategic Betrayal right now. Shoot the Sheriff is not Strategic Betrayal. Demon Wall for our opponent. We will play a Breeding Pool tapped. I'm fairly certain we win here. I have 4 mana left over after I cast this. Formidable Speaker. We're going to discard a Craterhoof Behemoth. We're going to get Kavero. I have I have the demon in my graveyard. Kavero gets Bringer of the Last Gift. That is it. That's what the deck is supposed to do. Game 6, Sultai Reanimator, Formidable Sultai. On the draw again. We have double black, but not double anything else. So Wistfulness looks bad here. Oblivious Bookworm does draw us more cards and does put some of these things in the graveyard. I am going to keep this. Let's see what our opponent is up to. Meticulous Archive is probably a control deck. Another Bringer is a terrible draw at this point. Overgrown Tomb for us. Tap land from our opponent. It is Jeskai control. Okay. Gloomlake Verge for us, and we will play Oblivious Bookworm into a Spell Snare, it looks like. Feeling real good. 3rd land from our opponent past the turn. We will play a Formidable Speaker into a counterspell. They don't have it. That's okay. So, I mean, I guess I just toss a bringer. It's probably the least useful card in our hand right now. Yeah. Question is, what do I want to get? I mean, I guess I get a Cavero. Yeah, not having a fourth land in my hand is making me feel really bad about where we're at. 3 mana up for our opponent. Fourth land is good. Let's get in for 2. What I like about Formidable Speaker is that you can't kill it with Lightning Helix. Okay, so they do have things I'm gonna want to kill with Awaken the Honored Dead, right? Like that's how that works. I think I'm gonna play Watery Grave here, and I'm gonna try to just resolve the double blue of Wistfulness. See if see how they feel about this. Yep, you got it. Again, I'm confident that their deck is going to be playing with graveyard removal, so they're just biding their time until they can remove my graveyard. Because there's a sneaky, persistent amount of graveyard decks in the format right now. So they're looking at those 4 cards and going, is that enough? Is that enough for me to say, I don't want to do this anymore? Okay, moving to combat. Attacking for 2. We'll play a Hedge Maze. We will bin a Craterhoof Behemoth. We'll try to resolve an Oblivious Bookworm. This gets a Lightning Helix. Watch. Here it is. Zap it. What even is that? Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Unagi was very good there. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. Seam Rip takes the Bookworm. Sure. Opponent attacks for 5. Good for them. This is a skillful control player right here. They have been very cautious with each of their plays. Okay, I'll draw a card. Okay. Cavern of Souls on human. Let's go. That was a huge draw for us. Do you have 2 removal spells? You don't! Oh, I can't believe that! Cavern of Souls. This is it, folks. Game 7, currently 4-2 with Sultai Reanimator. This is a fine hand. I can play Watery Grave untapped for Requiting Hex into Oblivious Bookworm. Hopefully I draw some cards from there and get to Formidable Speaker pitching the Behemoth, etc., etc. That last game really showed why a couple of copies of Craterhoof Behemoth are so impactful. I'm really thinking that I don't want to... You know what? Let's just do it. This is an all or nothing deck. Like, the 2 life I lose from that is not really going to hurt me all that much. Okay, 2 blue. All right, again, we will play Oblivious Bookworm. We will move to end step. We will take the action. We will draw, and we will put... I don't know what makes more sense to put in first, actually. Let's put the Craterhoof in first. On the off chance that they decide to strategic betrayal this turn. Okay. We're gonna attack for 2. We will play an Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass the turn. We're gonna hold up Bitter Triumph and Requiting Hex here. Because Dimir could mean a lot of things. Now that okay, all right. Consult the stars tells us it's control. So again, very high likelihood we're going to see strategic betrayal here. I am still going to go for it. We're still going to dump Bringer here. Okay. Moved combat. Attack for 2. So I can Bale Merc here. Let's do it. Still leaves up Bitter Triumph. Realm of Co is not... You can't activate it yet. Okay, I don't want either of those. Am I just gonna leave those all in the bin? Let's just leave them in the bin. If they've got it, they've got it, right? Like, there's no two ways about it at this point. So, I'm gonna assume, based on all these Consult the Stars, that they do not have any small creatures. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to discard Requiting Hex. They've got to have it. They've got to have it. Yep, there it is. See? You got it. Our opponent misses a land drop. Okay, so now we're gonna play Hedge Maze. I think we keep the Cavero on top. Now we're gonna play Deceit. They are nowhere close to Deadly Cover-Up. They're 2 lands back from it. So not sure. Okay, so Bitter Triumph is pretty useless here as well. They've got a real stocked hand here. Let's toss the 3 steps. Okay. They're going to play stock up. Yep. It's going to be a long game. As all of these games have been. Tap land for our opponent. Cavero on Deceit. Target up to 1 other non-land permanent. Am I putting Overlord back in my hand? Alright. You can get rid of that. Did you draw a removal spell? It's funny if you did. I mean, that... Oh my god! Really? Their deck is genetically engineered to beat ours. Genetically engineered. Stock up. I mean, they had 3 stock ups in their hand, right? There was no sense in me taking one of them because they were still gonna have 2. I mean, maybe that was the right choice, getting rid of one of the 3 stock ups in their hand, but double stock up for our opponent. The irony here is that I'm not even actually sure that... I'm not actually sure that the Cavero combo saves us at this point anyway. So, yeah, I'll take a Bookworm here. So, I'm trying to think of how to do this correctly. Alright, we're going to play this, discarding the Bookworm again, and getting one of the Deceits back out of our library. And then we will play Deceit. Okay, so they have nothing but counterspells and removal in their hand. Okay. Get out of town! How? That is so brutal. It is so brutal. Am I playing into a counterspell? No, they don't have it. They don't have the mana. Boy, that is brutal. I cannot believe they drew a board wipe. Go on. Our opponent plays a land, plays a rank, plays Coiling Catch. I'll play a land and attack for 6. So impend the Bailmark. I'll get Deceit back. I'll play Deceit with 2 black. And again. Ooh, that's such a nail biter. Meringue River region bounces both our guys. 19 cards left in our library. Strategic Betrayal. Overlord again. I'll get Deceit back for the umpteenth time. 14 cards left in our library. Our opponent is down to 3 cards in hand. They have an Agna Kala. They're going to draw and discard. I think we just evoke Deceit. Yeah, I think we just evoke Deceit. Yep. Then we play Wistfulness. I probably should have kept that. I probably should have discarded the Formidable Speaker. What do we got? Discard, draws, then discards. We don't know what your cards are. Removal spell for our opponent. They're shooting the sheriff. Ladies and gentlemen, folks of all types, I give you Crater Hoof. Oh, there was still one left in the deck. All right, friends and opponents, how did we do today? So 5-2 is a fantastic record. Our losses were honest losses. We lost to a fantastic top deck after a slugfest with a control deck, and then we got absolutely stomped by an elementals deck that snuck a Cavero out on us when we didn't realize that could possibly be a thing. That's just not knowing the meta very well on my part. So this deck, I mean, it's kind of the boogeyman in some ways. I know some people really cringe at this particular deck and this particular strategy. I think it's an enormous amount of fun. We all knew Formidable Speaker was going to make this deck a little better, and it certainly did. It's very consistent now. I think you can get a lot of great ladder wins with this deck, so if you're really looking for something that's actually going to win you games, you can't go wrong with this. But the coolest part of this is that there are a lot of different versions of this that you can play. There is a Sultai kind of scam version where you're playing with even more of the elementals, and you're trying to kind of cheat them into play early to sneak out wins that way. There's this, obviously, the mass reanimator version of this. I saw a Grixis version of this, so it was blue, black, red, and played with the dragons. And that one, it doesn't get Formidable Speaker, is the only reason I don't think that one is quite as good, but it's also an enormous amount of fun. So I know that this is going around a lot in Standard, and you can tell that by how much graveyard hate there is in people's main boards. Even in mine, I'm playing with 2 copies of Strategic Betrayal, and so is everybody else. We saw how many times today our graveyard got hosed by spells, and that's because that's what Standard looks like right now. But it is awesome, and there's lots of different decks. We didn't play against the same deck twice, or at least not exactly the same deck. We had some similar ones, but a couple of different control decks looked kind of similar, but even they are diverse in their own right. So really happy with where Standard is right now. I can't wait to see what happens when we add yet another set. Feeling like that pace is a little fast right now, but we're trying our very best to keep up. If you are still watching at this point here at the end of the video, you are just amazing, an excellent and admirable human being. As always, thank you very much. As we move to wrap up, I'd like to remind everybody one more time, maybe hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about Head Games. We really appreciate all your time and effort. Thanks again for watching, and remember, always take care of your head. Hey gang, thanks so much for tuning in. Click that subscribe button to support the channel, and check out our last video from Lorwyn Eclipsed Standard, where we showed our opponents the enduring power of Rakdos Discard.